Hi, Mark here from the Tangent Bound Podcast Network and host of the flagship show, the Tangent Bound Podcast. Did you know that we over at Tangent Bound are always looking for amazing podcasts to promote? And did you also know that we are also proud nerds and geeks of everything from movies, music, gaming, TV shows, and comic books to wrestling, MMA, soccer, and football? Whatever you can nerd or geek out about, we've got it. And if you're interested, we can help you find it. And if you're a show looking for a place to call home, we've got you covered. Side effects may include upset stomach, dizziness, tumors, shakes, and in some rare cases, death from excessive laughter. Though to be fair, it's only sometimes. Other side effects may include diarrhea, gallstones, heart palpitations, and strong desire for cookies on the dark side. Talk to your doctor and visit TangentBoundNetwork.com and see if Tangent Bound Network is right for you.
This is a Danger Entertainment podcast. DangerEntertainment.net. Danger Entertainment Podcast Network.
Welcome to the podcast from Temperance Town, the sexiest podcast of world renowned. Tony grows a beard to hide his chin, swabs it with Earl so it glistens.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier.
Download the pod, you won't get enough of these dapper chaps talking deadly fluff. In Hobo Gulch they run a homeless mission, clanging and banging with the pentagram of kittens.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier.
They enjoy their whiskey and local craft beer. By Odin's unkempt pubis we give a cheer. Tony's a raccoon when he's booziest. Don't be a savage, be an enthusiast.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier.
On the frozen tundra they call it a lock. Tony likes to masturbate in a sock. Brian pisses rocks cause it feels so great. I still don't know who the fuck is Tate.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier.
The boys will let you know when there's a spurler. Due to male pattern baldness, they don't wear curlers. Stay salty, people, that's their closing line. And don't forget, have a beer, you'll be fine.
Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier. Salty, salty language, kings of the sexy frontier. Salty language.
Hey enthusiasts, what's happening? This is Salty Language, episode 332.
Sexiest podcast on the network. Per usual.
Indeed. Feels weird. Pulling the curtain back as we tend to do. We're recording on a Sunday this week. It's been
it's been
it's really
a weird weekend and week.
It's weird for me because usually, I would have been doing the Crazy Life tonight, but we're actually recording tomorrow. So,
that's interesting.
Because things just all week just didn't work for us, and so we finally are just like, well, we got to put something down,
Right.
It's funny because that's actually a show that we could do something and just kind of put it in the can,
Right.
And then if we run into a situation, have things like that. And I think at some point we probably should. Like this show, it's harder to do because we generally talk about, what's going on in our lives and,
Yeah, new shit.
Right. But on that show, we could just pick a topic, talk about the topic, and then, just try not to do any of the how's your week stuff, basically.
Right, for sure. Jesus. Sorry, I got so many cords down here by my feet.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm just like have my feet in spaghetti, basically.
I understand, dude. I understand.
I really need to rearrange some shit underneath this desk.
I was just thinking that the other day, looking at my desk. I was like, God, I got cords everywhere on this thing.
Right? Exactly.
Like, and half the time, it's like half of them I have no idea. You know, it's like obviously I can figure out what they hook up to, but just looking at a lot of them, I don't know. You know, I'd have to trace it back. You know.
Just start unplugging things and see what happens.
That's a good idea right now.
Yep.
Yeah. We'd be okay until I get to the soundboard. Because the laptop has, you know, the battery's fully charged, so we'd be okay for a short time. But
yeah, fair enough.
Once I start, you know, yanking cords that happen to have to do with the soundboard, then it'd be, you know, we'd be toast at that point. So, anyway.
Naturally.
So before we get into all this other stuff, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Does it feel like Christmas season to you?
Not entirely.
Yeah, I, you know, my mom, me, my sister, we were all talking about it the other day. It just doesn't feel the same this year. I don't know what it is. None of us can put our finger on it. It just doesn't quite feel like Christmas, even though today is the 10th. Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Well, I can tell you why, for me, it doesn't feel like it.
Okay.
Sir. Well, one, it's been oddly mild up until this week.
There is that, yeah.
So, I mean, like last Monday, I was wearing shorts to work.
Yeah, you know, that probably makes a huge difference in it. It didn't feel like December, yeah. Right.
But then but other than that, because, you know, we're going on to Florida over Christmas, we don't have any Christmas stuff out.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense too. Whereas here, there's plenty of Christmas stuff out, so it's, you know, just weird though. I don't know. And I've been out to stores too. Like I was in Target and, Meijer, which is a local kind of store, local-ish store if people don't know. And it was weird because I've got some stuff to talk about on that coming up, but, it was just weird overall because even walking through those stores, you know, people were buying things for like Christmas gifts, but it just, you know, I don't know how to describe it. It just didn't seem the same as like that. And a lot of it's because people are ordering online. You know, there wasn't like craziness in the stores that I went to. You know, They were busy, but they weren't like, oh my God, I'm going to be here 12 hours if I get in line, you know? Yeah. So, and again, I know they've reported this year way more people were going to shop on Black Friday online and stuff, which makes sense, you know. Target and Best Buy, I think Walmart too, had free shipping on everything. So, you know, and so many people now have Amazon Prime, you know.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's amazing for the 2-day shipping, but now it's like, oh, I get unlimited music and I can stream stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems okay to me.
It does seem okay. Yeah, I hear you. I've even, you know, I guess when we were driving around with the family, I threw on Christmas music and trying to spark it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I do enjoy Christmas.
Uh-huh.
But it's just, you know, I'm not feeling it this year.
I will say this, you know, frequent contributor to the show, Fluffy Bunny Ash, she's nuts about Christmas. So she's made up for what we don't have.
Fair enough.
In that I think she's already had a Christmas party. So,
right.
You know, and, yeah, pretty much as soon as it hits a certain point, you know, she just starts, like basically Christmas vacationing her house. So,
the old Griswold time.
Yeah. So, you know, I guess maybe that's it too. Not a lot of people around have a lot of stuff up, like lights and stuff. There's a few houses around here, but not a lot. And, you know, and I know a lot of that has to do with there's some elderly folk living in here and, you know, unless they have someone come put it up, they're not going to have anything out there.
Well, hell, if those little projectors, just throw it in your front yard now and you're good.
You know, it's funny. People around here have kind of shied away from those because a couple years ago, there were some idiot kids that were going around stealing them.
Yeah, fair enough.
The two houses next to us actually, both had one stolen. And I know others too, but you know, those two were that close and we've never had one.
Goddamn shitty people.
I know, right? It's like you can't just leave something outside like that. And
I know. Can't you just behave?
Yeah.
You know?
I know. That's the thing. I've never been one of those types. I know we've talked about this before forever ago, but I've just never been one of those types to look at someone's property like that and go, I should steal that, or I should break that, or,
Yeah, like I want a projector,
yeah,
but I can't put it out in my yard if I live in this neighborhood because they'll know I stole it.
Right?
This doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. Like even as a teenager, I wouldn't have done anything to it, because I know how expensive those things are, Some of them are not too bad, but some of them, like there was one of the places around here, somebody got, those big inflatable deals. Somebody knifed one of them, like took a knife and just tore the back of it open, basically. So,
do you think maybe they're terrified and thought they had to stab it to death?
Could be. All I know
Just
is
saying.
Bunch of savages in this town.
Yes, exactly.
But I'll get to that.
No.
So how was your week?
It was bizarre.
I was saying, unless you have more to add to the Christmas thing.
No, not really. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. That I'm just, like I said, we didn't pull our Christmas stuff out of the basement because we're not,
Yeah, sure.
We're not going to be here.
Yeah, I mean, you could have put it up for me and T to come over and throw our party, but whatever.
Accurate.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. The only thing I've really been loving this Christmas season is, Starbucks Christmas dark roast beans. I'm a big fan. Every year when they come around, it's like I do a little happy dance and, then I put my clothes back on and order my coffee.
Sure.
Yeah.
I didn't notice, maybe I just didn't see it, but I didn't catch any big hubbub about Starbucks Christmas cups this year.
Hopefully no one gives a shit like they should.
Yeah. Because I remember in the past they've had issues for not using red ones or whatever the fuck it was. I don't remember.
I don't.
It was stupid is what it was.
It's always something dumb, yeah.
I still wish,
harump.
like I know they got to put their brand on stuff, but it would have been hilarious if their response would have been to just give white cups. Just plain cups.
Yeah, exactly.
Or better yet, ones that are like cardboard color, so they just look like cardboard basically.
Yeah.
Just as generic
that
about as you
amazing.
could have had. Be like, here's, it just says coffee on it.
Yeah, if you really want to fire people up, you'll do that.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Where's my festive cup? This is garbage. How
like,
people gonna know I'm drinking festive coffee?
I'd be like, here's a marker.
Yeah, draw your own festive cup. Yeah, bitch.
That's it. You just buy a bunch of crayons and keep them there. Be like, here, you can color on your own cup. Which actually,
it's not a terrible idea.
Yeah, right? The more I'm saying it, I'm like, actually, it's not. I mean, you could do it with white cups too, Well, really any color, I guess, but it'll show better on white or the brownish color.
Right. Yeah, I could actually get behind, the design your own cup or something.
I've seen, there's somebody that I follow on Instagram that she's got her own, a coffee, kind of kiosk deal. And, she was doing that actually. She was drawing on the cups, ahead of time and then having them and stuff. And I was like, that's kind of neat. You get each cup is, different and, unique. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. But,
right.
Yeah, whatever.
It is kind of nifty.
Yeah.
It's probably because she's just bored or something, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That would be me if I were working that kind of job and I was bored. I'd just grab a marker and start doodling on the cups, much like I used to do when we had the comic shop. Remember, I used to draw on the bag that the comics were in for a few people because I knew they would, they appreciated it. To the point that a couple of the weeks when, I didn't do it, they were like, oh. I was like, oh, all right. I was just doing it for giggles, but.
Yeah, I would do that with my kids, when I used to pay, when they're youngins, I'd pack their lunch.
Sure, yeah.
And I'd always draw under, because, we'd buy, I'd wrap their sandwiches in butcher paper, because, we try to be as earth conscious as we can.
I thought you were going to say fancy, right?
So using a plastic bag.
Yeah.
But I always draw, faces on there, like, oh God, don't eat me, and stuff like that.
That's great. Yeah, Tate was doing that. She was posting them on Instagram for a while. She was doing that each day for her kids. Yeah, or a kid. That's cool. I love seeing parents that do that. There was an artist I followed on DeviantArt that used to do that, and he would post them, and the one time did basically a sequential.
Oh God, I'm dying.
A sequential thing across a couple weeks, or if you put the bags together, it would, be like a scene. kind of a
That's
thing.
funny.
Which I thought was really cool. I was like, he must have like laid out bags and probably just at least done the layout of it probably to make sure it all lines up. And then, that was cool though. That's the kind of stuff I would probably do too, cause it's,
yeah.
Meanwhile, the kid doesn't
Artsy
notice,
and
just
fun.
throws it right in the trash.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, ugh, Dad.
They don't even appreciate it at all.
Yeah, their friends are like, oh my God, that's so cool. And they're like, whatever. And it's,
Yeah, like, ugh, my parents are so weird.
Yeah. Anyway, so how was your week, sir?
Yeah, it's been a weird week.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we worked a lot, and, Jeannie was worked a lot this week, so we didn't really see each other much, and it was just a weird week. It's like, because we'll get into it when we talk about Dude Mountain, but I completely shit the bed with my football picks.
Yeah.
And then, we went out, which I'm sure we'll talk about. We all went out on Friday.
Yeah.
And that kind of like threw off my weekend because it didn't feel like Friday then.
Yeah. It was really weird to go
like,
out on
my time is all jacked up.
Right. Yeah. It was really weird going out on a Friday because for, those who don't know, we used to record every Friday. Yeah. So it was very rare.
Recording night.
Yeah. It was rare that we would go out on a Friday.
Yeah.
So that felt odd.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all wonky, man.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I don't know what I'm doing next week either because they're, at the Y, they're shutting down the fitness center for a week to renovate it.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Just basically
that's my morning routine.
I figured they were just going to bleach the whole thing.
Yeah, probably. Well, I'm just hoping they add more equipment. That'd be nice, but
yeah.
Here's hoping.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a bizarre week. I did have a funny moment with Leah when I picked her up from basketball practice. Mm. And, it's cold now.
Right.
And her one teammate was out sitting. They have like her school's got like a brick planter outside the front door, there's one on each side that like frames the door.
Oh, right. Okay.
And one of her teammates is just in her like little basketball shorts sitting on the brick. And it's, 20 some degrees out.
That seems like a bad career move.
Yeah, I know. And that's like Leah got in the car and I'm like, what is your teammate? Cause I don't know any of the kids' names, whatever.
Sure.
I'm like, what is she doing? Just sitting out there in her shorts on the cold brick. And, Leah's like, I don't really care. I went, wow, okay, why is that? And she just goes, well, cause she's a bitch.
Wow.
Which for those of you who don't know, we told my kids a while ago, you can be liberal with your language around us.
Right.
There's a time and place for cussing, but we know you're going to do it.
Yeah.
But she normally, like Logan says, he'll drop bombs at any time and it's whatever. She doesn't cuss that often, so just hearing her go, it's because she's a bitch.
Right. So it's got more weight to it because she doesn't throw it out there.
For sure.
Often, yeah. Now, out of curiosity, can they stand like inside the door of the school to stay warm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, I can't imagine they just be like, get the hell out of here and lock the door.
Yeah, because I don't know why she was out there. And I mean, the girl is an odd, I don't know. She was on Leah's volleyball team too. It was those ones when you're like, God, this kid annoys the shit out of me.
Fair enough.
So I get it.
Yeah.
But it was just weird.
Yeah.
Just funny hearing it. Because she's a bitch.
Yeah. Okay, well, there you go. I mean, if it's the truth, it's the truth. Or, how she sees the truth, whatever, however you want to word it,
Yeah, exactly, right?
Bringing a little crazy life reframing into that, Like, well, that's how she sees it. Doesn't mean it's true, but that's how she sees it.
Right.
That's funny though. It always works. It's always funnier to me probably because, I know Leah. So I, picture her saying it, I'm sure that helps the cause. There's probably people out there going, all right, whatever.
Well, I guess, to frame it, she's 12.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
There you go.
It's the kind of stuff like when we were kids, we would have wanted to say, but I would not have been allowed to say that. I would have gotten in trouble if I said that. So.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I couldn't remember, but I didn't think.
Yeah, no, my parents were very much like, my dad was always like, fuck this, or whatever. But if I said it, he'd be like, what's wrong with you,
Yeah. I was gonna say, I know he cussed, but I think I've barely ever heard your mom cuss.
No, whenever she does, even like today, it's always like, whoa, that's weird.
Yeah, okay. I thought so, because I was like, I can't remember, really ever hearing her cuss, other than maybe like hell or damn, like.
Right, yeah.
And, especially in today's world.
It's very rare I hear her drop an F-bomb, but it's always like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's how
it's so weird.
Right, that's how I can tell my mom's really pissed, is when she drops an F-bomb, because she's not a fan of, she'll say hell, damn, that kind of stuff, but she doesn't really get into the heavier stuff, the saltier language. And,
exactly.
Meanwhile, I'm just like, fuck this, fuck that, shit this,
Yeah, exactly. It's, it's funny. I still try to keep my language clean around my parents.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I do.
Obviously, I'm a grown ass man. It's just like.
You know what I think is funny is like when I'm talking with you or our friends, I drop F-bombs like crazy, and don't even think twice about it. When I'm talking to my mom, whenever I would say fuck probably becomes shit. If for some reason in my head, shit is better.
That's funny.
Meanwhile, to my mom, I think they're about on the same level, because there's only one word that goes up above that, and that's, the see you next Tuesday bombs.
Well, I hear you. Like, even when I was on a Geek Dig last week, we were probably talking for 15, 20 minutes, and I just was like, oh, crap. This is a not safe for work show, right? Because I'm just talking like I talk to everybody. Right. like Clint, I don't quite remember. He's like, oh, yeah, it's fine. I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah, you're like, good, because otherwise I just made a lot of work for you, or we're restarting.
Exactly.
He has to go back and just put a bunch of drops in there or something. Naughty. Oh, man. All right, so
oh man is right.
Anything else from your week? Oh my god,
I know. I saw because I work for a print shop. We print a bunch of stuff for old folks' homes. Mm-hmm. Dude, do you realize how expensive them fucking places are?
You mean the old folks' homes, right? Yeah, they're ridiculous. Yeah, I learned.
I never.
I learned years ago because my grandma went into one, and my mom was in charge of her finances and stuff, and she used to have me double check the maths and what have you.
Oh, so there you go.
Yeah, I learned. I was like, oh my god.
Because I saw a price breakdown on a sheet that we're going to be printing eventually, and I knew they're expensive, but to break it down, it was you could have your own private suite for $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
And then there was a single room for $8,000, a doubles room for $7,000. Then there's $3,000 move-in fee.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
It says on the form, this does not count any extra stuff.
Right.
If you want to leave the compound, you're paying for that too.
Yeah.
And then it's $250 a day.
Right. That's nuts.
That's insanity.
It is insanity. There was what podcast was it I was listening to? There was one of them where they were talking about a shift from putting well, that's what we do. We put people in homes. Most of the time they're not like, hey, can you put me in a but a shift from people doing that to allowing the people to stay in their homes and just getting in-home care. Because across the board, it's way cheaper.
Got to be cheaper.
It's cheaper. The customer service type stuff, the rating on it is higher. Which, don't get me wrong, I've firsthand seen, or not seen, but heard some horror stories from some in-house care. But for the most part, they seem to be, obviously you go with, you try to stay with a reputable place or whatever.
Yeah, say do your research.
Yeah. And and from what I understand, those jobs are paying some of these nurses better than some of these other places, and the reason is to be the incentive to, always show up and always give good care. I can't remember.
Me personally, if I was, 86 years old and on death's door, I'd rather stay home.
Yeah, exactly. That was, when my dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer, that was one of the first things we asked is, do you, cause obviously he qualified for hospice at that point. And it's like, do you want to go into their care? Or do you want to stay home? And he's like, I want to stay home as long as I can. And it's not a significant burden to you guys. And and in my head, I'm like, fuck being a burden. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, yeah, it's
you
family,
can stay here as long as you want. I don't care. And I mean, literally I did. That's most of what I did for that year. But yeah, I'd be the same way. I'd just be like, my grandma who's 99, she's the same way. She's still living at home. And it would be from the standpoint of ease and care, it would be better if she were in maybe not a nursing home, but those retirement communities where you can get lunch or food brought to you and stuff, and things are just available to you, but you still live on your own. Something like that would be great because she can't get around great. She can still cook for herself and stuff, but it's a lot more limited than it used to be. But as she gets older and things, like her vision gets worse or this or that, it's like, you in your head, you're like, she's inching closer to that point where it's like, we don't want to make that decision because none of us want to put her in one, So anyway.
I mean, like I wouldn't even want to just be that sort of financial burden on my family.
Yeah.
Even if I had the money.
Yeah.
Cause like, I was talking to my coworker and he's like, his grandpa before he died had to go in a home. And he said they used to live high off the hog. Like he used to work in a tank factory. They had an amazing pension, all this.
Yeah.
And then after he finally died, his grandma had to file for bankruptcy.
Yeah. Because
it just drained so much money.
Yeah. My grandma.
So it's like, I would rather just go buy a one-way plane ticket to like Yellowstone and then let the wolves and bears get me. You'll never see me again. Just go walk in the woods. You'll never see me again.
Right. Just let nature take its course. I get you. Kind of like the way that they used to do it. Like the elders a lot of times would go. Essentially, they'd go out into the forest and they'd die basically. They'd go away from civilization.
Yes.
When my grandma went in, she had a few bucks in the bank still. And not a lot, but she had a few grand, 5 or 10,000, somewhere in that range, Right. And basically when it looked like she was going to go in there, they were like, kind of, we were kind of thinking, oh, this'll, whatever. And then when we saw how much it was going to cost, I'm like, wow, she's going to be broke like tomorrow.
Yeah. It's sickening.
Yeah. Luckily, Medicare, whatever, takes care of a lot of that, but you have to be broke first, like you have to spend all your money first, which, fine. But you go through it real fast. So
yeah. It's mind blowing.
Yeah. So if anyone listening didn't know that, now you do. Now
America, fuck the elderly.
Now you know. G.I. Joe.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah. Crazy.
Not in a good way either.
No, not at all. Not at all. I really wish I could remember what podcast it was because it was an interesting listen. And I absolutely cannot remember which one it was because I listened to so many that are similar topics, Right. Like I can't remember. It was either Hidden Brain, Radiolab, Reply All, or TED Talks, I think.
Yeah, lots of similar learning type podcasts.
Right. So it's like, and I can't, if I could remember like who the host was or something, then I could remember it, but I don't remember. Right. But anyway, I looked into that a little bit after listening to the podcast though, because I was curious, cause I'm like, that can't be right. Like that people are doing better when I really feel like it was Hidden Brain. But it's like, that can't be right that people, they'd be happier because they stay at home. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, somebody coming in, they wouldn't be living with you. They just come for, you could, don't get me wrong. There's obviously 24-hour home care and stuff too, but.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Especially if you get grandpa a naughty nurse.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I have a feeling that's going to be pretty expensive.
Probably. But is it worth it in this twilight of his existence?
Oh, for sure. Let grandpa go out the way he wants to,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Some nurse shows up with scrubs look like they're painted on.
Yeah. Basically, so here's the question with this. Is it basically work like a retainer kind of service, where you just pay to keep them on there and then grandpa, that it's kind of like an all-inclusive, or do you have to pay every time?
All-inclusive.
Every time grandpa gets a little frisky, do you have to pay then, or,
Maybe. Like hazard pay.
Right. That's probably the better financial model. The other is more security because it's guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Like
it's a flat rate. He gets a little handsy.
Yeah.
But it is a flat rate.
Yeah. Sir, we're going to have to sit down and have a conversation. Your grandpa's a lot handsier than you led me to believe. I'm going to have to raise the price a little bit. Well, fair's fair.
Yeah, I get it.
I understand.
Grandpa Walt's a maniac.
Yeah. Why do you think I don't want to take care of him?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's dirty grandpa from our previous conversation.
Yep, for sure.
Oh, man. All right. Anyway, so what else for your week? Anything else?
Oh, man. I know I have. Well, I got a little news story type situation that really made me laugh.
Oh, all right. Well, let's hold off on that. Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, not really. Like I said, it was such a low key kind of week,
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. Besides our Friday, which I'm sure we'll get to, and then I'm going to save my Saturday for our next show since today's Sunday already.
Right. Understandable.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want me to start with, well, never mind. They're both rants. I was going to say, so I mentioned already that I went to Meijer, which for those who don't know is basically like picture a super Walmart, basically the same idea. It's a department store and a grocery store all in one.
Yeah. It's all the things.
Or a general merchandise kind of store or whatever, so the reason I went in there was, and I had actually talked to you the day before because I wanted to hook up something for my mom. And then I realized after talking to you that the thing I was like, man, I can't find this was like, or all I need is an HDMI cable.
You'll have that.
It was it was for a DVD player because the one in her room is HD compatible. But she has everything in there hooked up via an audio video switch. So all I have to do is swap them, because the other one, the TV's got an HDMI port. So boom, plug that in, plug the other one into AV, and I'm all set.
Ready, set, go.
Right. And I was like, but because I just recently got an HDMI switch because I have, various game systems and an Apple TV and my cable is HDMI. So I was like, yeah, I don't have any more cords,
Right.
So I was like, we're going to have to get one. Well, we went to eat somewhere near Meijer. So I was like, well, just run in there. I'll just run back. Cause I know right where it is. I know exactly what I'm getting and out the door. And like a dummy, it's in their electronics department. And like a dummy, I didn't pay for it there where there's no line. I decided to go up front like an idiot when it's Christmas season and grocery store. So, extra busy. But I see I'm on the side of the store that has no U-scans or self-scans, but there was an express lane. And there was like 3 people in front of me. Everybody, from the look of it, it looked like people only had like 1 or 2 things. So I'm like, this'll work. I'll be 5 minutes, I'll be out the door.
Right.
Cause I really didn't want to walk all the way to the other end of the checkouts. Where the U-scans are. And I think they have like 30 checkouts, and I was just like, So right. I'm in line, and the first thing I notice while I'm in line is that somebody in front of me has got sulfur ass. And it's really, really bad. Like almost eye-watering bad, right?
The old portal to hell, right in their asshole. Yeah.
The woman in front of me, I don't think it was her because she kept turning and kind of like shaking her head. Like I think as it wafted past her, I think she was like, "Oh God,"
Right.
So I think it was the people in front of her, and they were the cause of my issue because, okay, it's an express lane. There's like 12 items or less. As they get up there, I saw it was a woman and her daughter. They split the stuff in their cart so that they could both go through the express lane instead of having to go in another one. So
I hate people.
Yeah, so that was my first thing. It's like, whatever, I don't care if someone has 12 items, but that kind of cheeses me off a little bit because I I don't know. It shouldn't, but it feels like you're cheating.
It falls into the, once again, like we said earlier, just behave.
Yeah. So I'm like, whatever, either way, 12 items is not that big a deal, right? Well, except that the woman, there were some blankets or something, some like fleece blankets she was getting. And when the cashier scanned them, the woman was like, that's not the right price. And the cashier goes, well, it shows this. And the woman's like, well, it shows this in the back. So of course she has to price check it now. So she calls back for, to do a price check. Nobody answers the phone. And I'm standing there and just like, cause again, all I wanted to do was buy an HDMI cable. That's it.
Yes.
So I start looking down the length of the checkouts to see if I see a line at the U-scans. Because if not, I'm going to just bolt down there and get out of here, But there were people lined up and I'm like, and the U-scans are always a crapshoot. If they're people like me who know what they're doing, boom, I'm in and out of there in no time. Half the people using them have no clue what they're doing.
Yeah, no, they're used to like scraping the dirt with sticks and shit.
And they take forever. So I was like, I'm going to wait. Cause it looked like there's about 6 people waiting to get through. So I was like, I'll just stay here and see what happens. So finally they get a price check on these things. And then, she's like, it's whatever amount. And the woman's like, oh, I have coupons. And I'm like, of course you do,
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
And it's not digital ones that, like automatically, like when you go to a lot of stores.
Your phone or whatever. And,
Nope, of course not. So, she going through those. And again, it's like, whatever, But then the woman whips out a checkbook. And I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. And it was at that moment that I threw my arms up and was like, fuck this. And I said it out loud and went down to the U-scan aisle. And I stood behind 3 people and got out of there before the woman and her daughter got out of line.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. And I was then I was angry at myself because I was like, I should have just went down there.
Right.
Because odds are there's like 4 or 6 U-scan stations. It's like there's a good chance that I could have gotten through there quicker and, and that was the thing is, it's like, I wasn't angry because I had to wait. I was angry that it was like, it bugs me when places do a price check and everybody has to just stand there with their thumbs up their ass until it comes back. It's like, why can't they stop that transaction and just work on the next one? Get some other people through and then, when the price check comes in, say, okay, well, you're first in line basically.
Plus, honestly, unless it's a significant amount of money difference, who gives a shit?
Yeah, it was like $3 a blanket and she had 4 of them. So it was $12,
I guess maybe if that adds up, but I mean.
Yeah. That's why I said none of that kind of stuff bothers me. That's out of her control. She grabbed it thinking it was X price. Right. That's not the woman's fault. I have never, ever, ever felt like you should be able to use a check in a express lane, especially not now, to where nobody uses checks basically anymore. It's like, I always felt like it should be, cash or card. And, if you want to use a check, tough shit, go get in a long line.
Yeah.
Because it's better than it used to be. It takes less time now because they don't have to fill out the whole check. The machine.
Right.
Well, I take that back. If it's your first time using a check, you have to fill out the whole check, I think. Once you've done it once, you're like in the system, so you don't have to. But, and I realized that most of this was just my own rage and honestly, I think I was more mad at myself the whole time because I didn't just go down to the other end.
Right. Son of, I should have just.
Yeah. Well, really, I should have paid in the electronics department. That would have been the smart move.
Ultimately, that would have been the move.
Because there was nobody there, and I just walked out, and I got about halfway to the front, and I'm like, I should have paid back there. It won't be that big a deal,
Like, it'll be fine. Surely there's not some sort of stinky woman and her awful daughter.
Right.
Splitting up carts of shit to beat the system.
Yeah. Well, lesson learned, Yeah. So, I got out of there, and I was just, I kind of felt redeemed when I got out of there before they did a little bit, kind of like almost wanted to go up in their face and just, middle fingers everywhere, even though I didn't win anything.
No. You just wanted life. That was about it.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said, and I truly wasn't mad at them, because the only thing the woman really did that made me angry was the check. That's really what incensed me,
Right.
And it's not really her fault. I just hate checks anymore, because, like, who fucking uses checks anymore?
I would completely blame her, though.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
She's
it sounds like it's always this person's fault.
Yeah.
Like, it's cold, it's that dumb person's fault.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, here's something else that was weird that happened while I was there, and this isn't a rage-inducing thing. It was just sometimes you'll see somebody in a store and you kind of just want to follow them to see how the story plays out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So this guy comes in, total hipster dude. He's got like a, big puffy scarf on. He's got a lengthy coat, a coat that goes past his knees. He's got like one of those military looking hats on, a well-coiffed beard and glasses, of course. And he gets in, walks into the store on the end I'm on, and then I see him just immediately walk all the way to the other end where the U-scans are. And I'm like, I'm thinking he's going over to the grocery department because that's where it is. Nope. He gets in line for the U-scan, and I'm like, what the hell? And it was right before, and then, I walked down there, and he was like 2 people in front of me. So, and where the U-scans are, in the middle of them, they have a thing with like candy and gum and beef jerky and what have you. So he grabs like one of those things of like the, Icebreakers cubes or gum or whatever. That's all he got. He scans it, pays for it, and I see him walking out, and I'm going, why would you go into the store to walk all the way to the other side of the store to just get gum when there's a gas station right out front?
Yeah, and it's even a Meijer gas station if you want to use your M-Perks or whatever the fuck.
Well, and also I was like, and you run the risk of having what happened to me happen, where you could end up in there for 20 minutes for a pack of gum, basically.
Well, clearly this guy is a turd.
No,
clearly.
The only thing I could think of is maybe he was just in the store. And maybe he was like, oh shit, I forgot gum, and runs back in, basically. But even then, I was like, why wouldn't you go to the gas station? Your odds of getting in and out quicker are better, especially this time of year, but whatever.
I'm still going to go with he's just a doucher.
That's why I said I kind of wanted to follow him just to see how it played out, because I want to know if he does other weird things like that. Does he stop at other places and just get one thing and walk the length of the store for it?
Probably does.
Yeah, probably. So,
it's like when I was coming home the other night and it was late as fuck, and I got caught behind this car. And I live out in the middle of nowhere. They're doing 25 on the country roads.
That's pretty awesome and very rare, because usually, especially as it gets darker up here,
people go faster.
People go way faster. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I was just like, and unfortunately, it was just enough traffic that I couldn't get around to them. But when I finally did, they probably thought, Back to the Future was being filmed next to them or something.
Right.
But it's one of those things, too, and I'm just like, what is this person's deal and why? I don't understand why they're driving. They're probably hammered.
That's possible.
I mean, it was later. Oh, my God.
So where you're
Speaking of hammered.
To where you're like closing one eye and trying to just keep it between
one
the
of those
lines.
Digs. Yeah, exactly.
Oof.
I was coming home from work. I had to have been last week. I can't believe I didn't put this in my notes. And up ahead on the road, you always see, police flashers. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh boy, probably an accident or whatever. So, I get over in their lane so I can pass. And as I'm passing, there's a dude handcuffed in the back of the cruiser. The cop's rooting around the car, and sitting on the roof of the car is a half a bottle of Buffalo Trace.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Oh, silly person. Like, especially if you're not actually drinking it, you should probably keep your open liquor in your trunk. That way, if you get pulled over and they do find it, it's like, yeah, it was in the trunk, dude.
I mean, I can only assume they were enjoying it while they were driving.
Yeah, probably. Whoops-a-daisy.
Yeah.
So you got to be smarter than that. You got to put it in to-go cups or something like that, or water bottles. Come on.
Definitely. Yeah, exactly. Get one of those big ass drinks from like McDonald's or something.
Yeah, exactly.
The of of diabetic liquid and then just pour booze in it.
A liter of cola?
Yes, a liter of cola.
Oh, man. So here's something else that happened that day that was really stupid, which was...
All right, I'm in.
So, I mentioned that we ate near Meijer, and when we're in there, this guy orders chicken noodle soup, and then he stops the waiter and goes, "Can I get that without carrots?" The waiter looks at him a little weird, and the guy goes, "Yeah, I never understood why you put carrots in it."
Goes Flavor Country?
I almost just wanted to, I was close enough. He's lucky I didn't have an empty pint glass. That's all,
Yeah, that's fair.
I was just like, do you understand how flavor building works, sir? It's one of the, holy trinity of cooking. That's why it's in there.
I would get it if he was allergic to carrots,
yes.
But then don't order the soup.
Right. And of course, the guy's like, no. It's it's already made, I'm like, so.
I got an idea, Dick. I got an idea, Dick. Eat around them.
Yeah. Pick it out of there. Again, like you say, if there was some reason you were allergic to them, then you wouldn't want it at all because, maybe the stuff's in the broth would still make you balloon up. But
Flavor Country turns into Danger Country.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I just, how it is. You've been out with me in places. I always am looking for weird conversations or weird behaviors of people. It's just, it's what I do when I go out, which is why it's really difficult for me when I go out with somebody when it's been on a date kind of a thing, because I have to really really fight to focus, because the whole time I just want to look around and I don't want to give off the air that I'm like, who's looking at me? Cause it's not that. It's more of, I'm like, what kind of savages are in here?
Yeah. I always feel like I'm doing that same shit.
Yeah.
And I when Jeannie and I go out or whatever, and I'm trying to focus on her, but if someone walks behind her,
yep.
I immediately am like,
yeah.
And all I want, I know she doesn't care, but I don't want to be like, I hope she doesn't think when we're just trying to enjoy our moment that I'm like, oh, look at that ass.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But, again.
I know she doesn't care.
Right.
Even if I was.
Yeah.
But
it's as we'll get into about Friday, it was like you and I were doing that on Friday. We were constantly just like, look at that guy, look at that person, look at whatever.
Head's on a swivel at all times.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that stuff's aside. I have one more thing and then we can get into Friday, whatever here. And this was, I mentioned last episode that I got an Xbox One.
Yes.
So I found out something really interesting that I didn't know, which is if you are trying to install a game on your hard drive, that you should disconnect the Xbox from the internet and Xbox Live, because if you don't, the system basically keeps checking for updates and tries to download the update at the same time you're downloading the game from the disc. And it takes forever. Another, Super Troopers reference. Forever.
Yeah, forever. That's pretty dumb.
Yeah, cause I was putting Halo 5 on my system, and I'm not kidding. It took me, I didn't do it consecutively. I did it for a while, and I was like, man, I wanna watch something on my Apple TV or whatever, so I turn it off. But it took me across a few days to get this done. And once I learned that, which was after it was done, I was like, oh, because I have a new Call of Duty. Throw Call of Duty in there, disconnect it from the internet. 15 minutes, the game's installed. And then I hook it back up to the internet, and I only stopped because we were going to be doing this, and I don't want to be pulling on the internet while we're doing this. But it was already up to 17 or 18% in not very much time. And I was like, wow, that made a huge difference. So, especially if you have not high-end internet like I do, just a cautionary tale.
That is bizarre that it does that.
Yeah, and they don't tell you that. I ended up finding it on Xboxes because I was like, God, why is this taking so long? So I, just Googled it. And then the Xbox community, somebody asked the question, why is this taking forever? And somebody else was like, oh, here's why, and this is what you should do instead. So, there you go. If you're getting an Xbox, fair warning.
Yeah, right on.
I like the system. There's a couple things I really don't care for on it, but it really cheeses me off that right out of the box, the controller that comes with it just has 2 Duracells with it. There's no way to charge it. You know, like you have to keep buying batteries or buy a charging kit separately. All right.
Right.
PlayStation comes with a USB cable that plugs from the system right into the controller and charges your controllers. You know?
Yeah, that seems like the best thing right there.
Yeah, and even if it didn't, well, it's a Sony product, so it's probably unique. But I was going to say, if not, it looks like a mini USB, basically. But I was like, you know, and I got my PlayStation 4 the day it came out. Or
right.
a week after it came out. The Xbox has been out all this time, and it's like, really, by now you could have thrown in a charging cable. I mean, I'm just saying.
One would think, right?
Right. Now, because of this, I'm in Target the other day, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to see how much the charging, you know, the plug and play kit is, you know, or charge and play kit, whatever they call it. And it's like $20, basically, or 25,
right.
Something like that. And I'm like, of course it is. You know, also, and this made my day, it doesn't come with a headset of any kind, right?
Really?
Yeah, the PlayStation comes with basically one earbud that has a little microphone thing, you know, kind of like your iPhone headphones, you know?
Right.
But it only goes in one ear. But yeah, the Xbox does not have Bluetooth capability, so you can't hook up like a Bluetooth device or whatever. And the headsets you had for the 360 are not compatible with although I saw stuff online where people say that you can make it work, but it looked like a lot of work, so I didn't want to do it. But again, the jank headset is $20 or $25. You know, just a plain, you know, headset with a microphone. And I'm like,
right.
Man, because, you know, right now, basically what I'll probably use is like my iPhone, earbuds. You know, and it's like, those are not going to provide, you know, when you're playing a game like Call of Duty, you know, when you hear guys stepping on things near you and, you know, like where you want to hear those things, it's like, these are not gonna really supply that.
You just gotta get that Turtle Beach, son.
Yeah, that's the other thing that sucked is I have a Turtle Beach headset that was, you know, for Xbox and PlayStation 3. And, yeah, that doesn't so much work on the next gen stuff.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, there's nowhere to plug in. Well, there's a place to plug in the USB part of it, but there's nowhere to plug in the audio in and outs. So.
Right.
Yeah. So there you go. For anyone going to get one, there's, you know, some nice warnings. Like, you know, I remember back when I worked at Best Buy and we used to sell printers. None of the printers came with a cable. You know, and it's not because of like now where a lot of them don't because they hook up via Bluetooth. You know, or whatever. It was like back in that day, they just did it because they wanted to charge you another $30 for a cable. You know?
Right.
So, yeah.
Because that's what they do, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, and I looked up Xbox. The reason that they said they don't include a headset is because the system has a microphone on it. And I'm like, that's not the same as a headset. You know, PlayStation's got a microphone on it too, but hell, look, they still gave me something that I can plug into my controller and use when I'm gaming. You know, it's like,
right.
Dude, it's like, how cheap are freaking head, you know, like earbuds with a microphone? $20, $15? I mean, come on. Could have thrown.
You would think, right?
Yeah, you could throw that in. Come on now. Again, the worst part is that Sony does. You know, like if Sony didn't include it, I'd be like, well, that's just the way the industry works. You know?
Right.
So again, for the people who are, you know, wonder at times why I'm generally more pro Sony, here you go. So, yeah. Anyway, that's, but again, I like the system. It's a good system. I've been playing the Magic game on there and, you know, which feels weird playing Magic again and whatever.
Right.
You know, but yeah, anyway, so there you go. That's my rant for the week, or rants.
Rants.
Yep.
Rants, plural. We need like theme music for Brian's rant of the week.
We really do. Like, or just for our old man rants, you know?
Yes.
Because we have enough of them. It's just like in the background, we need like Statler and Waldorf and. for
sure. Like a scratchy phonograph.
Yes. Yeah. So it sounds all old timey. I like it.
Yeah. Have the intro like, like, I don't know, World War newsreel before we would watch a talkie.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had, have to put something about Hitler getting his ass kicked or something, and then war bonds at the end.
Boys over there are pushing back Jerry. Good job, boys. Something like that.
If you want to support freedom, make sure you buy war bonds.
Yes, exactly, for sure.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Friday.
War bonds sounds like a sweet action figure variant for James Bond.
Could be.
Yeah.
Like it's one where he's all weaponized, like he's a cyborg or something. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. War bonds.
War bonds. It's an army of them, of course.
Well, of course.
Bonds.
Yeah.
For the plural.
Bonds, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So yeah, Friday, we decided to go out and paint the town beer colored.
Which is odd because that could be a lot of different colors.
It could be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to leave it just, it's up to the interpreter here, right?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. No, we went to, sorry, super tired.
Nah, you're fine.
We went to, one of my more favorite local breweries now, Ernest Brew Works.
Yep.
And enjoyed the shit out of ourselves, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a good time. Yeah.
Definitely. Had all kinds of tasty beers. But I think more importantly, we finally got to sample Pizza Cat.
Right.
Yes. Which is, it's a local, another local place, and they do pizza, and it seems like they're doing fine because their menu's gotten pretty huge, and
because they do a lot of specialty pizzas.
Yeah, and they're all goofy ass names, like I don't know, colon cleaner or something. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, but what I do know is the pizza's delicious. Because I was gonna, get like a smelly cat, I think they call it.
Right, yeah, it was.
But the guy was like, because of the huge party we're having in here right now, we're not doing custom orders. But he's like, but I've got like 10 or 12 pizzas coming. So when they get here, I'll let you know.
Right.
I'm like, all right. Sat down and continued drinking beer.
Mm-hmm.
Which the pizza showed up, and I saw him kind of look over us and point.
Yeah.
And he actually let us, I don't know if you saw it, he let us cut the line.
Yeah, I did. That was nice. Yeah.
Because we were over there earlier. Yeah. But so, we're picking out our pizzas. And then as we're picking them out, this little lady walks in with multicolored hair and a nose ring. I'm assuming they're an item.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because she was talking about pot roast, and he's like, "Oh yeah, all that pot roast we made, we got a blah blah blah." Which all I heard is pot roast.
Right, same here. I wasn't paying much attention to him, and then when she said pot roast, I was like, "All right, I'm in."
Yeah. So then I, of course, because it's what you do after a pint or two, I just butt myself into the conversation.
Oh, hold on. That's something I might do after a pint or two. You would do it no matter what.
Well, especially they were talking about pot roast.
Right, exactly. Yeah, well, it's a meat product, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just simply stepped in between them, basically. It's like, whoa, you guys are bringing pot roast?
That's what I thought they were talking about. Was I thought like she was going to literally bring him like a pot roast dinner or something along those lines,
Yeah, exactly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the dude like lit up though.
Yeah, he did.
And he's like, well, I'll tell you what we did. He's like, the brewery here, he gave a bunch of barley, like spent barley from beer making. And he's like, so I took it home and I ground it up in my food processor for a couple hours. And then we take that barley beer powder, mix it with garlic butter, slap that on pizza crust, put pot roast on it, whole garlic cloves and cheese.
Yeah.
And both Brian and I were like, that sounds delicious.
Yeah. I mean, it was instant chub for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe full on, depends.
And the guy was like, he's like, it's kind of like eating beer.
Yeah.
And then you have pot roast and garlic with it too, because you get the beer flavor from the spent grains.
Right.
So, we're like, wow, that sounds incredible. He's like, well, I got a couple of them coming in a few hours. We're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. I'm like, we'll probably still be here. That's awesome. Maybe
exactly. Yeah. We'll more than likely still be here.
Yeah.
So, and sure enough, we smashed the pizzas that were provided, and they were delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And then more pizza shows up, and the dude just walks over and drops pie on our table.
Yeah.
And goes, this is that pot roast pizza I was telling you about. I just want you to try it, and then just walked away.
Yeah. So we're like, okay.
Yeah, we're all kind of looked at her like,
like
okay.
you said, twist my arm,
Yeah, and it was incredible.
So good. It was so good. I really thought.
So good.
I'll say this: like going in, I was a little afraid of the whole uncooked garlic. Because I love garlic, but I was a little afraid of it, because usually you would like roast the garlic a little bit or cook it down a little bit, soften it up, And I'll tell you, it was funny because when I bit into it, it actually it reminded you, it gave you a crunchy texture that you didn't have anywhere else in until you got to the crust.
Yes.
Or the outer crust, and it was surprising how much I really liked it actually. Because when you bit into it, it's just this burst of garlic. And, plus you have that garlic butter. It just, everything came together. And I was like, oh my God, this is good.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So they were only making the pizza through tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because we asked them, because we're leaving finally. Because our friend Valerie, she was DJing. She wanted friends to go there and watch her and support her. So I was like, that's what we did, right up the road from the brewery.
Right. And he told us, the guy told us, which I feel like shit because we didn't get his name. That's so unlike us.
Yeah, I know.
But,
it is.
When he was like, we're only making it till Monday, then it's gone forever. And I think you and I shed a tear, especially after we tasted it.
Yes. Well, and then Jeannie was like, well, if it's gone through Monday, she's like, I'm going to have to get one for me because I know my kids will love this pizza.
Yeah.
And the guy just hands us a pizza box. Here you go.
Yeah.
Just pay me next time you see me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I will.
Yeah.
I have no issue with this.
Right. I know it was a shame. Like none of us had cash basically. I had $3, which I handed him before we left. So, cause I was like, look, I'm like counted as money toward the pizza or tip, whatever you want. I was like, it's all the cash I have on me.
Yeah. But, oh man, I mean.
Yeah.
It was good.
I'll tell you this too. So when I got home, when T dropped me off, I still had pizza left. And, again, after I've been drinking, I like to, put carbs in my belly. And a lot of times me and T will stop at Taco Bell. And I was like, not so much. I got all this pizza, So I get home and so I grabbed a piece of that pizza and it was cold. It was still delicious cold. I was
nice,
really surprised because I'm like, I don't know how this is going to be cold. Like the garlic cold and, the garlic butter, like it's going to be a little more like solid, but the taste was still so good. I mean, I smashed the couple of pieces of it that I had left.
Well, the next day, in the morning, I was telling Logan, I'm like, hey, there's pizza in there, and I explained him what it is.
Yeah.
And he just went, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes.
Right.
And then I went downstairs and I was like, oh, Leah, there's pizza. And I started explaining pizza, and she looked at me, she went, that sounds gross. And I'm like, what? I'm like, it's amazing.
It's funny though, because that's the way the guy was saying most people were reacting when he was telling them.
She was like, I don't understand it though, because you have the pot roast and the garlic butter, and then you have tomato sauce. And I was like, whoa. There's no tomato.
Nope.
The garlic butter is the sauce. And she went, oh.
Yeah. Yep.
So when I came
I'll tell you what though, real quick, it's like now I want to put garlic butter on a pot roast.
Yeah, really.
Because I kind of want to, I mean, I've stuffed some with garlic before, but man, now I want to just like, drown one in garlic butter too.
Exactly, right? So when we came home yesterday, I asked her, I was like, well, what'd you think of the pizza? And she was like, oh, it was amazing, Dad.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, right?
Yeah,
I told you.
It was, yeah.
Never doubt your old man.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because right as he, like when we smashed through the half of that first one, I took a picture of it and I posted it in a couple of the Twitter rooms I'm in, and I'm like, people are probably gonna be like, ew, gross, you know? But each of the rooms I put it in, everybody was like, oh my God, that looks amazing. So.
Well, and I honestly thought he was gonna come by and grab it and then like pass it around to other people.
Yep, that's
what
he
never did.
You know, it was funny because I thought that too, and then I was kind of in my head. I was like, well, you know, if he was going to do that, you'd think he would have put the pizza on plates and just handed some to us.
Yeah,
that way it's, you know, we wouldn't be getting our paws all over it and then taking it to another table or something. But
and I think Jeannie nailed it because her and I were talking about it, and she was like, well, I'm pretty sure it's because, you know, he was excited by his pizza and we were excited by it.
Oh, totally. Like when he told us, we were like, oh my God. And then we got back to the table and talked about it and everybody was like, oh my God, you know, so. And certainly when he came over and was like, what do you think? And we're like, you
could tell he definitely enjoys making pizza.
He really does. Yeah. He's very passionate about what he does, which is awesome because I'm very passionate about eating good pizza. So
it's legit.
Yeah. I was pretty.
I'm glad I finally got when I first saw that place over, you know, it's not in a great area, but when I first saw it and I Googled it, I was like, I don't know what this is, but I need to try it. And I'm finally glad.
Yeah.
And at least they set up at Ernest all the time because that's perfect.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
it is because like that, if it wouldn't have been for that, there's nothing except popcorn to eat there. And like me, I went in there having not eaten yet. So, and I was drinking 9.7 beers, so it would have turned out pretty ugly had I not had some pizza there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it was, oh man. I'll tell you the other thing he did, that's brilliant marketing too, because we're talking about it now. I've told everyone I can think of about it. You know, I'm sure you're telling people, you know what I mean? It's like we're spreading the word about the place. We both followed him on Instagram. I think Jeannie said she did too, I believe, you know, so it's like there's all this stuff. Plus he also made a long-term customer because if we see him, we're very likely to buy more, you know?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely buy. I mean, I owe him for a pizza.
Well, that too, but you know what I'm saying?
but I would definitely buy pizza from him again because it was great.
Yeah. So that's why I said, you know, it's brilliant, but it also, I think Jeannie did nail it though. I think it really was that he saw how enthused we were about it. You know, and was like, cool, people, you know, they get it, you know.
Right.
Because he did say that quite a few people were like, ugh, raw garlic, you know, which I can understand, you know, it's powerful.
I mean, I just love garlic.
I do too. That's why I said when I bite into it, you get that huge punch of it and it's, you know,
it was cooked enough that it took like some of the heat you get from like raw garlic.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like the soft roasted garlic. Yeah. Right.
I'll tell you what, though, I think I'm still tasting garlic. So you gotta like garlic to really like that. If you don't like garlic, that is not the pizza for you for sure. But luckily we love garlic. So
yes, very much so.
Yeah. That was a good time though. I had a lot of fun there. It was nice. It wasn't as loud as last time when we went there. We were able to get tables, which was awesome, you know, so.
Yeah, I was actually worried when we pulled in because the parking lot was packed.
Yeah. That place is definitely.
And then I saw you guys sitting there and I was like, oh, perfect.
Yeah, that place I'm sure outpaced their business plan pretty quickly as far as like, oh, well, you know, we'll see, it'll grow. And it's like, nope, on weekends and launch days, the place is full.
Yeah, which is good because I enjoy their products, so I'm happy that they're doing fine.
Yeah, I hope on like Tuesdays and stuff they're busy too. You know.
Yeah. Well, it seems like they try to do something every day.
Yeah, I'll tell you what we should have done is we should be trying to talk to the people who run it to get them on the enthusiasts.
Yes, that's they're on my list of people to reach out to. Same with Pizza Keg guy.
Yes. Actually, yeah, why not? I like it. I think he'd be an interesting talk.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, fair enough.
But then we went just up the road to this little bar I've never been to before called John's Corner Bar.
Yeah, I've never been there either.
Because that's where she was doing her karaoke DJing.
Right.
And I got to say, it was I saw where it was on the map, and I saw some pictures on Google, and I'm like, this place looks like a fucking dump.
Yeah, I figured it was going to be
a pretty legit bar.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a dive, honestly. And when we got in there, I was like, oh, like this looks recently renovated.
yeah. It was actually a cool bar. They had some decent beers on tap, and that was also a good time. We got the, no one really sang, unfortunately. Like one guy started singing as we were leaving, and he was terrible.
It was time to go for sure.
Yeah. And then I did see on her Snapchat the next morning that she had more people come up and sing, which is good. But,
awesome, yeah.
But we also ran into Steve Weary, which I don't think he remembered us.
No, I don't think so either.
Because he's a past enthusiast guest.
Yeah.
He's a local brewer and distiller and did a weird beer fast, and we talked to him about it.
Yeah. It's a really fun and interesting conversation we had with him.
Yes. And he's got his fingers into everything, because I guess he's part of that karaoke business. I had no idea.
Yeah, he does that. Remember when we interviewed him, he said he was doing stand-up, he plays music, he does the penny cab thing. It's like, seriously, that dude has hats everywhere. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hustles.
Yeah, he certainly does. Yeah, I respect the hell out of his hustle for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was impressed by. I kind of like John's Corner Bar.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Not that we're probably heading there very often, but it's like if we ended up there, it'd be like, whatever.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because I'm like, there's not many reasons for me to go, because if I'm going to be over there, I'll just go to Ernest.
Yeah, exactly.
But like that's not bad. And I don't know, some of the clientele were a little odd. There's definitely some Christmas parties rolling in there and stuff, but
there were some good people watching going on in there. I was enjoying myself with that too. So
yes,
yeah.
There's that one office party. I'm assuming it was an office party, and boy, that one chubby chick. I'm like, she's clearly the office skank.
I loved it too, because that bar, the best part of that bar was that they had $1 apple pie shots. And
yes,
everybody there except us pretty much was doing them. And it just cracked me up because they did, 2 or 3 rounds of them. And, they weren't very strong because like the bartender said, what do you want for $1, basically? But,
yeah, exactly. She's like, they taste good, but.
Yeah. It just made me laugh, cause it had to have been an office party though. I heard a lot of people say, see you Monday and stuff like that. So.
Right.
Yeah, it was something though.
It was definitely something.
Yeah. There's some very interesting folk there. It was a really weird mix too. Like there's a couple guys that looked like they probably should be in a biker bar. There were a couple of people that were, just looked like they would go to the local bar. Some looked like hipsters. Then you had that whole business party group, then us. There was an odd mix in there.
Well, and, you had the one guy that was, he's clearly a fan, because he was playing your game of just walking around and drinking out of a pitcher.
I forgot about him, yeah.
Which was really making me laugh. The first time I saw it, because he went up to go, talk to Valerie at the karaoke booth, and he's just holding a pitcher in his hand. I'm like, I don't think he's pouring it anywhere.
No, not at all.
I'm pretty sure he's just drinking out of it.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. You're like, I hope he's drinking out of that. And I'm like, me too. And I never saw him until we went to leave. And then I saw him literally drinking out of it out, on the smoking
he was outside
area.
Smoking and drinking out of it.
So great. You're right, though, straight out of my playbook. Well, he didn't use straws. I drank straight out of the pitcher plenty of times, though.
Yeah, that was kind of your thing at Growler Thursdays when you were all about Buck. Guy.
I used to do it
because it was cheaper by the pitcher, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I used to do it back when we used to go over to a place called the Field House too, because they used to have cheap pitchers. So I just get a pitcher and they'd hand you like a stack of cups, and I'd be like, I don't need those. Like, I'm not sharing this.
Yeah, this is for me.
Yeah.
Why would I want a dirty air with your plastic glasses, man?
Yeah, they got mad at us after a while though, because we had like 6 people and we all wanted a pitcher, And they were like, you can only have like 1 pitcher per table, basically. Like physically 1 pitcher per table, So
right.
We're like, boo, but whatever,
Like, don't you understand how thirsty we are?
Yeah, it's like, do you realize how fast we're gonna be coming up here to get you to fill this pitcher like every 2 minutes? Cause there's 6 of us. As soon as we get it, we're filling cups and they're gone. Cause, they're those little, 6 ounce pour cup, like size or whatever, or 6 or 8 ounce cups,
Right.
We're killing these things, you know, and we're stupid college kids. So we don't have any, you know, sense to slow down. Plus, plus it was probably Bud Light or Miller Lite. So it, you know, it wasn't a heavy beer. So you can drink 30 of them. You know?
Right. I also got to do a little shout out to the Roman Pod and Cast.
Okay.
Because they, 2 years in a row now, they sent us a Christmas card, Brian.
Oh, very nice of them.
So it's all festive over here at Shameless Plug, slightly north.
Well, there you go. That's your Christmas decorating, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is my decorating right now.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah, it's a Christmas card and then a couple little Roman Pod and Cast guitar picks. It's like, very cool.
Right. That's cool. Yeah. Thanks for the card and the picks and remembering us.
Yep, that's exactly.
Very cool of them.
For sure.
So yeah, go check out their podcast.
RomanPodandCast.com. Boom. But I don't know. That was pretty much the extent of our Friday, wasn't it?
Yeah, because when we left there, it was, you know, pretty much straight home. Yeah.
Yeah, it was time to go home.
Yeah.
Go home and
you know what's weird is y'all were like half falling asleep when we were at the bar. And which made sense. Jeannie was on like 3.5 hours of sleep. I was also on about 3.5 hours of sleep. It was dark, so you were tired. And
and, wrong.
You know, T was yawning quite a bit, and Michelle was, you know, literally almost sleeping at the table.
Yeah.
So it was funny though, because when I got home, you know, I'm smashing that pizza because delicious. And and you know, about 20 minutes after that, I was playing that WWE game on my phone. And all of a sudden, I'm just like, I'm nodding off like you used to when you'd wake up playing Madden and it would be like 40 penalties later. Yeah. So, I was like, oh boy. And it was weird though, and I was like, well, screw it. You know, if my body says it's tired enough to sleep, I'm taking it, you know?
Yeah. Why fight it, right?
Yeah. And it wasn't great sleep though, cause I didn't have a lot to drink, but I think it was a little having to do with that, you know? But still, I got some sleep. I woke up at like, I don't know, 5 a.m. or something like that though. Unfortunately, like wide awake.
Yeah, that sucks when that happens.
That's the biggest reason at the age I am now that I hate when I get really drunk. Because usually I'll get home fighting to stay awake. I'll hit the bed, done. And then like 3 hours, 4 hours later, I'm wide awake. You know?
Yes.
And it's like, great. And that few hours of sleep wasn't really sleep. It was just time travel, you know?
Right. Yeah, I hear you. I had to have actually, I think it was last week, something woke me up and I was like, oh, it must be time to get ready for work. I looked at my phone. It was like 3 a.m. But I was, like you were saying, wide awake. Yeah. It's like, this sucks.
That's the worst is when you're like an hour away from when you would have to get up anyway. Cause you're like, by the time I get back to sleep, I might as well just stay up, you know?
Yeah. And then it always ends up being you fall asleep and then your alarm goes off and you're like, I feel like death now.
Right.
And I felt amazing an hour ago.
Yeah. It's like, how does this happen?
Yeah, it sucks.
I stayed in bed. I should have got up.
Story of my life.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So, what else you got for the week?
That's pretty much it, man. Oh. It's been pretty uneventful.
All right. I got some pop culture stuff. If you want to run around this.
All right.
Did you watch the video I told you to watch?
Oh, son of a bitch. No, I suck.
You still need to watch it.
I will. Still cover it though.
So a while back, you know, we talked about the Broken Hardy gimmick in TNA actually.
Yeah.
And the Hardys are with WWE now, and a lot of people really thought that we're kind of apprehensive about it because Vince McMahon is such a control freak that it was like, man, he'll never give Matt that freedom to really just be campy and silly with that character.
Right.
Well, plus TNA was like, oh yeah, we own the copyright to Broken Hardy. Well, a week ago, or a couple weeks ago actually, he was in a match with a guy named Bray Wyatt. I think I told you about this on the show actually. And at the end, Matt was just laughing and laughing. Well, when they showed up on the following Raw, Bray Wyatt's giving one of his, like they haven't always have him do like these creepy talks and stuff that never turn into anything, but that's just his gimmick.
Right.
Well, he started talking and then you'd see like static and then it would show Matt And as soon as Matt was on there, first of all, you could tell he was wearing the like long coat kind of thing that he wore as Broken Matt. But then the first thing he does is like go, yes, or big, and just the way he did that as Broken Matt. And I'm like, holy shit, and he was calling himself, saying that he had been inside the Matt Hardy vessel and that he had woken.
Oh, he got woke?
Yeah, that Bray Wyatt had, woken him. And this back and forth, like this keeps happening. Like Matt talks, then it little, static, then Bray, then static, then Matt. And it's so ridiculous because at one point Bray is laughing and then it goes back to Matt and Matt is like doing this crazy laugh and it just keeps going back and forth. It's one of the weirdest, campiest things WWE has had on in a long time, but given the two gimmicks, it was perfect.
Right.
It was exactly like the crowd popped like crazy when they saw Matt. And as soon as he started talking about, oh shoot, I can't remember. That he had a certain condition.
Right.
Yeah. As soon as he started talking like Broken Matt, the place went crazy. And I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was like, yes, cause I love that gimmick so much. It was so campy. It was great, So we'll see where it goes. But, if you're interested in that, the video will be or the link will be in the show notes and you should definitely watch it. It's not very long. It's only a few minutes, but it is ridiculous.
Ridiculous?
Yep.
Well, speaking of ridiculous.
Yeah.
This guy's actually my hero.
Okay.
By the way.
All right.
There's a dude, Brian, that last weekend, not the one we just passed, but the weekend previous. Mm-hmm. He streamed the entire UFC pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, I heard about this. Yeah.
And he was on cam just holding a controller pretending he was playing the UFC game.
Right, because I think he was doing it via Twitch or something, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah. He was doing it via Twitch.
So ridiculous.
And the screen caps are perfect because he's just in the lower corner with a headset on, holding that like it looks like a PlayStation controller or something.
Yeah.
And I guess the whole time he's just mushing buttons and be like, "Oh, come on, man," and stuff like that.
Right, and it's funny because you see the video is clearly like actual footage. It's not
actual. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I just wonder. I mean, I heard his Twitch account got shut down for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if UFC maybe goes after him a little bit.
I was just going to say, I'm sure UFC will probably litigate that away. Whether they like go for money or anything, they'll probably just shut it down if nothing else. Because I know like Dana White has always been a hugely outspoken about piracy. So
yes,
yeah.
But oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah, I cracked me up because when I first saw it, I was like, "What?" And then I read the story. I was like, "Oh my god, that's great!" I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot to put it in the notes. So
I don't really. I mean, I have Twitch on my phone because it can work on my Fire Stick. Well, no, now I have the Fire Stick. No, it used to be able to work on my Chromecast, but
right.
But I've never really partaken in Twitch.
Yeah, I haven't either. I have a couple of times, because a friend of mine was doing like a fundraiser thing, and they got money per viewer or something to that effect. So, I jumped in and watched for a little while to help them raise some more money. But that's about it. I just, we've talked about this at length, is that, we're just not the right generation to watch.
I don't quite get the whole watching someone else play a video game situation.
Right.
And I know like there's some Twitch channels, like for a while, probably before Netflix picked it up, for a while there was someone just doing Bob Ross.
Yeah.
and I know there's more than just video games on Twitch.
Yeah.
But it's still not anything I'm really interested in.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's streaming the UFC.
Right. Well, that's the thing is, there's all sorts of creative workarounds for those things every time one comes up, and I'm not going to go into them because, I don't want to make it sound like I'm condoning any of this, but, that was certainly a new one.
That's a good one.
That's a new one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. He basically MST3K'd it.
He really did. Yeah.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Shoot, what was I going to say here? Oh, Fluffy Bunny Ash brought this to my attention the other day. Apparently Marvel, just set up a deal with, Stitcher that they're going to do a scripted Wolverine podcast.
Yeah, I just heard about this on another podcast I was listening to today.
Yeah, it says it's going to be a 10-episode season, which finds Wolverine hounded by investigators tracking a serial killer. And it'll debut next spring on Stitcher's premium service. And then to all places, in the fall, I think it said.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say, because I heard it's going to be on a Stitcher Premiere or Premium.
Yeah.
And all I could think is that's a terrible idea.
Well, here's something though. I mean, it's $5 a month. So you could just wait till it's done, jump on there and listen to all of them. But yeah, it's, I'm with you. It's like, I'll just wait till it's free.
Yeah.
I've done that with other Stitcher shows. So.
Yeah. It's like, there's not many podcasts. I support them, but I wouldn't be like, oh, you're charging me per episode now? Yeah, I'm probably not going to listen.
Exactly.
It's just too much free content that's good.
Exactly, yeah.
Like this show.
Yes, exactly. There's all sorts of content for this show, that's for sure.
Yeah.
This is really interesting though. I'm very curious,
right?
Because it seems like it could be really cool, or it just seems like it could be really dumb, Like, I just hope that it feels like it's something that's, with Wolverine, so it doesn't just feel like you could have put any character there and it would have worked,
Right.
Or not even had a comic character, it's just a person, But, we'll see.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. How long's the podcast been? We've been doing it almost 7 years.
Yeah, over 6.
So it's about time, Marvel took our, followed our lead or whatever.
Right. It is interesting because, obviously if it does well, they'll start doing other ones, so.
I like the idea of I never listened to Serial.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Because when it came out, it was one of those things that I'm like, well, everyone loves this, and I'm gonna hipster it and be like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. See, the way I looked at it was, I'm gonna wait until it's done, then I'll binge it. Because I don't want to listen to one and have to wait a week. I'll wait till I can listen to all of it.
Right.
And then I never did.
Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, I do like the idea of like an old timey radio show like that as a podcast.
Yeah.
And I know, like, our friend Jason Ginger, he did that. Mm-hmm. He had his radio play he did.
Yep.
But
and there's there's plenty of scripted podcasts out there.
Yeah, like, I was like, I know there's a ton of them out there. It's just, I think it's a great idea.
I do too.
Because like we were talking earlier, with the old timey war reports, it's just like everyone around radio listening to Lone Ranger and shit.
Yep.
But now you're going to be listening to Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. I agree. I think Wolverine was probably a good choice for the first one because, the story you can tell with him and whatever. So
yeah. Hopefully there's sweet Foley work during it.
Like Mick Foley?
Yes. I can't do a Mick Foley voice.
No, that was pretty awful.
All right.
The only saving grace for you.
Fool you.
I was going to say, the only saving grace for you would be that a lot of people may not know who he is.
Right.
If they don't know, that was spot on.
Yeah, he's actually in the room.
Right. If you do know, clearly, well,
Yes.
So, let's see. What else do I have here? Oh, have you caught that, and they're talking like this might be announced sometime this week maybe. Did you see that like Disney is looking at buying out the entertainment part of Fox?
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Like, and, which would, immediately people are like, woo, because that puts Fantastic Four, Deadpool, Logan, or Wolverine, X-Men, all that universe into where Marvel could use them, which.
Back where it belongs.
Yeah. And, which is great. But man, I started reading about how this could overall affect the industry. And in the show notes, I'm going to have 2 articles for anybody who wants to read them. And this sounds like the one actually just sums it up and says this is great for Marvel fans, terrible for everybody else, basically. Because they're like, Disney then will own like Family Guy and The Simpsons and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, what are they going to do with this stuff? What are some of these shows and movies that are like FX and FXX type shows where they're, a little edgier type shows? that's not Disney's brand. So do they leave it alone? Do they start closing down all that shit? You know,
if there's one thing Disney's good at is making money.
For sure. Yeah.
And you can't have everything be family friendly.
I wouldn't think so. I mean, they kind of do, but you know, for a long time they owned, what was it, Miramax or whatever? That's what they put things out under that were not family friendly, basically. So it wouldn't surprise me if they still allow those things to happen, but it's, you know, a lot of people are uncertain. The bigger stuff is that this could give Disney up to 40% of the, box office, basically.
Right. Which is wild.
Which is which would allow them to, control terms for things, like to force theaters to give them more money and different things that they can, influence. You know, like that. Plus, you know, it'll make Disney into an even bigger, conglomerate. And, you know, it takes away another place where people could get work, essentially, because now it's all under the same umbrella, you know, to where you're not going to be able to go from one to the other, basically, because they'll be like, no, we already told you no. I mean, I'm still waiting for Disney's counteroffer, because I sent them an email. They could buy Shameless Plug Studios for $3 billion. That's a steal. I haven't heard back. They must be I'm assuming they're still figuring out the numbers. Yeah, they're looking it over, I'm sure. Because I'm sure they understand that it's a bargain at that price. Oh, God. Yeah, I know, right? Easily. I mean, it's like, maybe they're like, there's some reason they're lowballing us. We got to figure out why. You're right. Yeah. Their counteroffer's like $12. yeah. $12 in a mouse eater hat. Yeah. Only one. Right. Yeah, only one. From the avclub.com article that I had on here, it said basically the stuff that they would be buying from Fox is approximately worth $68 billion. Good Lord. Yeah. That is craziness. Right. And basically what's going to happen is Fox will retain their news, sports, and I forgot what other, but pretty much anything entertainment wise will be gone. You know, and also Fox owns part of Hulu, which Disney also owns part of Hulu. This would give Disney a much bigger part of Hulu. And like the one thing says, this might set Disney up to where instead of launching their own streaming service, they might just kind of make Hulu their gimmick and, you know, put Hulu up there to fight Netflix and Amazon. So that would make more sense to me than them starting up their own streaming service. Yeah. Because there's already an established brand. Yeah, exactly. That people have been buying into for years. Yeah, exactly. That's very, very much like the Amazon gimmick, you know? They tend to buy things that people have already been doing and just, you know, just keep letting it make money. So yeah, this is a really interesting thing though, because again, you know, on that quick surface look, you're like, yes, X-Men finally into, you know, whatever. And then on the other side, it's like, wow, that sounds really terrible for the industry, for the people involved in the industry, other companies. Like, it really sounds like Disney would have enough weight that they could, I mean, they already have a lot of weight, you know, but that they would have even more weight to throw around to where they can't be toppled. Whereas right now, they control a big part of the box office, but the other companies could essentially band together and have more of it, you know, and, you know, whereas with this, it would be hard for them to do it. Here we are. Everyone's assuming Google's going to become Skynet. Pretty sure it's going to be Disney. It might be. Disney's buying everything. So can you picture Terminators with mouse heads walking around? Look like killer Deadmau 5s coming at you? Yes, I can. Yeah. You know, like I said, I definitely, as a Marvel fan, would be geeked to have Marvel get X-Men and Fantastic Four back. Well, it would be nice to have Marvel be Marvel. Yeah, where they can use any of their own characters. Yeah. You know? It's so weird to me. I know. That was, you know, those deals were done well before. I mean, they still wouldn't have, they'd have Spider-Man, but they wouldn't own Spider-Man you know, they're sharing Spider-Man with Sony. So bizarre. I know, right? So yeah, anyway, like I said, I've got 3 articles that'll be in the show notes if anyone wants to read up on them, on this whole thing. Cause it was really interesting to me because I didn't realize how it was going to affect other things. You know, I was just, you know, like most geeks, I was like, you know, about, you know, just getting X-Men where they belong. Finally, maybe doing some good X-Men movies. And same with Fantastic Four. Change. Jesus. Yeah, Fantastic Four really needs it. Yeah. What's his name?
Boy, lumps of shit lately from those guys.
Yeah. Shit, what's his name? The guy who plays Captain America posted a tweet that said, "Who do I talk to about a Captain America Human Torch buddy cop movie?" And
that'd be awesome.
And yeah, as soon as I read that, I was like, "Oh, that could be really good."
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. What else was I going to say? There was something else here. Where is it? Oh, Netflix dropped the Jessica Jones season 2 trailer and gave a release date.
Oh, nice.
March 8th.
I have not watched it. Jessica!
No, this. According to what I read, it says that it's gonna, dive more into her past.
Oh, nice.
Which makes a lot of sense, because I was kind of like, well, where are they going forward with this? But, again, right. I haven't seen Defenders, so I don't know if that sets anything up or not. But, yeah, like I said, March 8th. So not too far off.
No, not at all.
A few months, yeah. Which is, cool, because I just finished up Punisher last night, so.
Delightful.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting because, I watched it and it was like, wow, they're really showing more of her using her powers than in the past. I'm wondering if maybe, cause again, it was, I read something a while ago that it said that was the most watched of the Marvel shows at one point. Maybe not anymore, but it was.
Right.
So clearly they don't need to sell her being a superhero to get people to watch. But I don't know. We'll see.
Interesting.
I liked it. Season 1 was really good. I thought, it had some moments.
Yeah, I enjoyed Jessica Jones.
Yeah, me too. So.
I enjoyed the Marvel shows in general, to be fair, though.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. I figured maybe we could do a couple minutes on the Punisher at the end of the show like we tend to do. We throw it at the end. So
that's a good idea, Brian.
Yeah, so someone doesn't want spoilers.
Avoid the spoilers.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you want to listen to us talk about the Punisher, it'll be after the end stuff that we usually do.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I got. So.
Oh, beauty.
So let's do some Dude Mountain.
Oh, shit, I don't have that open. Hold on.
You son of a bitch.
I know, right? I know I was forgetting something. Patient.
Ruined.
All right. My fire tablet's all fucking up and stuff.
Seriously, what a mess.
I know.
It's terrible. This is why Disney's not giving us $3 billion.
We are. That's true. I'll settle for 2.
Yeah.
$1 billion for each of us.
Whoa, don't put that out there. What if they were going to offer us $2.5?
Oh yeah, or 4.
Yeah, or 4.
Oh, that's El Tigre. There we go. Now we're cooking.
All right.
Well, Brian, since it is holy shit, we're almost done with this.
Yeah. Real quick before we get into the actual standings, you and I totally shit the bed this week because you forgot to do your picks, and
yes,
I did them. But for some reason, the ESPN app did not register them, so neither of us got any points this week. Which is we still could get one for tomorrow. So I am going to go in and put my pick in for tomorrow.
Well, that's the Genie was like, you can at least try to get one. And I went, nope, I fucked up. I'm going to take my punishment like a man.
I am going to try to get the 1 point. But even still, it's 1 point. It's really not a big deal. All right, so what do you got?
So what do we got going on now is number 13, which this gentleman also forgot to put his picks in.
Oh, boy.
Got Josh at Bend the Knee Cap coming in at 13, followed by Holden D's Nuts. Just above him is Dr. Feelgood. Then you got Big Dev, the Broth Monster. Then you got yourself, Brian, and then you got me. Then you got my wife, the Vengeful One Clint, Hobie McHobeface coming in at 5th. There's no one tied for anything this week.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? Heno's coming in number 4. Neil, John, Bon Tom Glistens, 3, Mr. Jackal, number 2, and still number 1, Randy of Mount Savage. he's he's a good 6 points ahead of everybody else. So
I'll tell you what,
like he might be
yeah, I was going to say this late in the season, it's going to be tough to overcome 6 points unless he shits the bed and doesn't put his picks in.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man. All right.
So there's your quick leg Dude Mountain update.
Yeah.
Shiznit.
Yeah, only a few weeks left of that.
I know, right?
Mountain.
Gotta wait for that thunderclap.
Yep.
I can't believe football season's almost wrapped up, at least like regular season.
Yeah, I know. We're just
It's
a few
so
weeks.
weird.
Yeah, I know, right? Hate it.
Yeah,
I've been watching more hockey, trying to get myself into the hockey mode before football ends this year. Usually I kind of wait until after football's over and then I start watching hockey and basketball. But this year I've been just randomly watching hockey off and on more again. So,
right.
Yeah. Except it's tough because the Red Wings are not good. They're not horrible, but they're
good.
They're not horrible, but they're not good. So yeah, I watched St. Louis whoop them 6-1 last night. I was like, this is no fun.
No bueno at all.
It happens though, It's team was so good for so long. At some point they have to have a rebuild season or 6.
Yes, exactly.
We'll see. All right, let's do Q the W.
Q of the W.
Yes, sir.
So let's see here. Last week we asked you, how did you get that scar? Thanks to Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a decent amount here on Face page. Cool. No one really queued in anything on Instagram.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot either. So it looks like you've probably got most of them.
So I got our friend Michelle. She says, I got fat really fast.
Fair enough.
There you go. Philip, he says, mine is on my big toe, left foot. Had an ingrown toenail after a tennis tournament. Told my grandma about it, who I lived with through high school, and asked if I should go to the doctor. She said no, and got a bucket full of hot water and Epsom salt. Told me to soak my foot in it and handed me a kitchen knife.
Oh, God.
Toenail clippers and told me to cut it out myself.
Oh, man. Wow, and clearly he did.
Yes.
Wow.
Because she, quote unquote, ain't paying for no doctor to do something I could do.
Wow, grandma's hardcore.
I was 17 and she told me to, quote unquote, suck it up and not be a puss about it.
Wow. I imagine that did not feel good.
Right?
Because I've never had that done, but I've known people who've had to have like a nail removed because of an ingrown situation, and it was not fun. So, wow, what a trooper! I wonder if she at least gave him some whiskey or something, or a rag to bite on.
I don't know, a stick, anything.
Yeah. All right, this is gonna hurt. The worst part is doing it to yourself. Like if someone else does it, you can at least kind of, grab onto things and bite down or whatever. But when you're doing it yourself, you have to focus on what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So Philip, he also must have shared our Q2W because he screen capped a comment on his post and gave it to me from Brian Russ.
Okay.
He says, pick a number between 1 and 83 and I'll share that one. So of course, Phil picked 69.
Yeah.
Because hilarious.
Sure.
And he says, back in my left hand, very hot exhaust manifold stud pressed into it for a few minutes while I unbolted a starter.
Ooh.
I heard it sizzle for a bit. About made me sick.
Wow. I bet it smelled great too.
Oh yeah. There's stuff better than cooking meat, right?
Yeah. Wow. Man, those two are way better than my shit. My shit's just reaching under sharp things pretty much.
Yeah, I know, right? So, Clint, he says, I was bitten by a brown recluse spider when I was 19. So that's 21 years healed over. He provided a picture of a jacked up knee. At least it looks like a knee.
That explains why he's such a recluse, because he got the proportionate recluse strength of that spider.
He's brown recluse spider, man.
Right.
Our friend Ashley, she says, I paid for them.
All right.
She's all about the piercings and the tattoos.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either that or she's just having, just scars, someone else just scar her up, which is kind of weird. But
she's got the branding like she's part of a black fraternity.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Valerie, she says, more than likely chicken pox. Or that time I drunkenly fell down the steps in a dress, like a baseball catcher, and then still went to sing karaoke.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty rough.
That is rough. And then Dev, he says, I willed it into existence. Seriously, though, boiling water plus a thermal onesie plus bad emergency room doctors equals epic arm scar.
Oh, my.
Which then provided a picture of his epic arm scar.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, and that's what I have on Face page.
All right. Those are some injuries, folks.
Some good ones.
All righty, what do I got here? In what is maybe my favorite answer of the week, because I almost did the same thing. Our pal Garrett, the top of Dude Mountain, he said 1994 he killed Mufasa, and he has the picture or a gif of when Scar throws Mufasa off the.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, into the hyenas. You can always get on my good side with a Lion King reference. Heno, well, he didn't say what the scar is, but from his picture it's pretty obvious, and it's from a jet ski, and it looks like he tore a good chunk out of the top, kind of up the top of his forehead while doing that, because the other picture is him smiling with blood just down his face. That's pretty rough. I think that's all we got on Twitter. That's all I see. And only got one email this week. It's from Cheeto Bandito. And he says, how did I get this scar? Well, I won't be sending a picture because ew, but the scar starts just above the pubic area on the left side and runs upward at a slight angle toward my left to just below about belly button level. Kind of like a backslash, and about 5 inches long. Now without showing you the fire crotch that is Cheeto Bandito, I shall continue. The scar is from a radical orchiectomy. Basically, they cut through the abdomen, reach down, and pull your testicle out. I had found a lump and it got checked and found out I had testicular cancer. Thankfully, my right nut was big enough that I just parted it down the middle. Anyways, that's how I got this scar. And check your balls monthly, boys. #pro tip. That's pretty gnarly.
That is pretty gnarly.
It seems weird that they would reach in, go that way rather than just open your nutsack up and just take it out.
I guess let's do this the hardest way possible.
Yeah.
Through your stomach.
I wonder what the reason for that is. I don't know. I'm also not going to find out, by Googling. If Cheeto knows, I'm sure he'd probably let me know, but I don't, I'm not going to so much research that.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
I don't want to see awful, awful pictures on the internet. I've seen enough.
Yeah, I think my awful picture quote has been met years ago.
Yeah. Also, before we, actually, we'll do our Q of the W for this week, and then I've got another message from Cheeto that I want to read.
So. Wait, we have to do the obligatory. Whoa.
Ooh, that's really low.
Good job.
Super low.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that brings us to our current Q to Dubs, which is very simply, what are you craving right now?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, the first thing that jumps into my head would be CBS, but well, founder CBS.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? Honestly, honestly, I really could go for more of that pizza from the other night, cause I haven't had that kind of reaction to a food since we had the hot beef in Chicago.
That was pretty epic.
Yeah. So I think right now it'd probably be more of that pizza. I have pizza, but it's just I'm gonna eat it and be like, this is just pizza now, Yeah.
It's not pizza.
Right. And I can't replicate it. I can do everything but the barley in the sauce.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to go with that pizza.
All right, there you go. Sorry.
Tony's craving a lung donor.
I know, right? Jesus Christ. I think right now what I've been craving lately, and I'm not going to be able to get them until the next time we go into northern Michigan. But there's this pancake place called the Jack Shack.
Okay, that sounds really. That's
why we ate there.
Yeah, of course,
because the name's hilarious.
Yeah,
but they have these. Normally I'm not a pancake guy,
right?
But they have these pancakes that are like the whole. It's just a shitload of pancake batter, and it's filled with instead of your blueberries or chocolate chips and all that bullshit people normally eat. Mm. It's sausage, ham, and bacon, and they're incredible.
I should have known it was going to be meat filled when you said that, when you lumped blueberries in with bullshit. Because I was like, I like blueberries in my, forget it. When I hear meat stuffs, it's like, yeah, we'll go that way instead.
Dude, they're incredible.
Yeah, I bet.
And for some reason, I was talking about them like last week to somebody, and then ever since I started talking about them, I'm like, I need these in my life.
Yeah. And it always figures. It's not, it's always got to be something that's like not easily achieved, Yeah,
because this place is up in Traverse City, so it's not like I can just like go waltz up there and get breakfast.
Right, right, yeah. It's not like Detroit or something, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I understand. Or my situation where I'd need some barley. But
red meat and barley.
What are you going to do? All right, so there you go.
There you go. What are you craving right now?
Show me what you got.
All right.
Nice.
So Cheeto also sent in an email, and he went and saw Justice League. And he says that so he sent us a short review. And
excellent. Wait, is this a sexy time movie review?
Well, he's not reading it, so I mean, yes and no.
That's true. And I don't have sexy music. I mean, I got
more seductive than sex.
That's about it.
Now, before I get into this, actually, that's a good point. Is I invite anyone, if you see like a newer movie, especially in the geek realm, or if you watch The Punisher or a TV show or something, and you want to like kind of leave us a voicemail that's a sexy review, keep in mind that it has to be on a 1 to 5 scale of Channing Tatum's.
Yes, exactly.
As is tradition.
So, as is tradition.
Do you have the number in front of you for the voicemail?
Oh, jeez. I do. 415-857-2589.
There you go.
That would be our voicemail.
Yeah, so call in and leave us a voicemail. Or, if you just record it on like your phone or something, you can just email us the file, at saltylanguage@gmail.com.
Exactly.
Or I guess if you do a video, you could just attach it on Twitter or, mention us, whatever, There's all the ways to send that stuff to us now. So, and he says that, it was better than he expected, but not as good as he had hoped. He's like, not sure if you guys are seeing it, so I don't want to give away any potential spoilers. He said spoilers, but spoilers.
Yeah, because salty language.
Right. In parentheses, he said if there really is anything to spoil. I said, granted, I go into these type of movies with very little real expectations. I simply hope that I'm going to enjoy the movie, and in this case, I did. 3 Channings out of 5.
Well, and I'm glad he remembered a Channing scale.
Me too.
Yes.
It's interesting because, I haven't seen it. You haven't seen it either, right?
No, I have not.
Yeah. Most of the reviews I've heard for it from people I know have been that they enjoyed it. Whether they would call it, like, how it is. Like, you go see a popcorn movie and it's like, hey, I had fun. Even if you wouldn't call it a good movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so, that's kind of what I've heard from a lot of people is that, they enjoyed it, had fun at it. And really, that's what comic book movies should be.
Yeah, agreed.
When you get into like the geek level we've done it and other people do it, to where you start nitpicking the whole thing apart. Well, yeah, it's going to be a piece of shit,
Well, yeah, exactly.
Don't get me wrong. Like there's some movies that really are garbage, but I don't know. We'll see on this.
I was like, I'll have a full report on Star Wars coming up.
Ooh, nice.
Because my kid's orthodontist on Saturday, they're having a showing of it.
Oh.
They could rent it at the theater for their reservations at like 8 a.m.
Oof.
But it's free Star Wars.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
I'd be there too. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Free is good.
I mean, granted, I have to go in there with a bunch of crooked teeth idiots, but that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah. They can't eat popcorn. I can.
Yeah, you're just gonna be staring at the screen anyway. Just remember, it's Star Wars. That's it. That's all you have to remember.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. I think that's all we got, right?
I think that's about a wrap there, my friend.
Alrighty. Well, again, if you want to listen to us talk about the Punisher TV series or Netflix series, stick around after the end credit for the end credit scene. If
post credit scene,
right? If you don't want any spoilers, then as usual, we'll just point you towards saltylanguage.com, where you can find everything, past shows, all the links that are in this episode. You can find a link to my other podcast, The Crazy Life. You can see the networks we're part of, the Tangent Bound Network, the Geek Life Radio playlist.
And of course, whoa, my finger missed. Knowledge Gong.
Entertainment. That was so great, man. That was a good callback, too. Knowledge Gong hasn't been around in a long time.
It's true.
It was used all the time when Tate was here.
Yeah. It's like if you used to listen to us back when we had Tate on, she would drop knowledge on us, and it became a thing where she'd say something, and we'd go, because knowledge gone.
Yeah. Now we never learn anything, so.
No, yeah, well, that thing's got quite the layer of dust on it.
Yeah. What else am I forgetting? Oh, there's a link to our Patreon on the website also if you'd like to help the show out. There's various levels of donations and such that you can give over there, and we have some different tiers of things set up for, what you get for that. Yeah. Or if you're going to be shopping on Amazon, since, there's still a little time before Christmas, if you're going to be shopping on Amazon, please swing by our website first, click the Amazon banner, and it'll take you right to Amazon.com. Doesn't cost you anything extra. It's just a little, couple extra clicks maybe. If you're using iTunes, we ask you to please rate, review, and subscribe, because that helps us in the searches and what have you, moving up the lists and whatnot,
Right.
And if you're using like Stitcher or another podcast app, please use the like or share options that they have for the same reasons. I feel like I'm forgetting something with that. No.
I think you're good.
It's pretty good. Oh, that's what it is. And also, or if you just want to do something to help us out, please retweet our episode links, or repost, share our Facebook post or the Q of the W, anything along those lines.
Right.
Just let your friends know about us and, try to help us grow a bit. And
please do.
Yes. And if you want to get a hold of us on social medias, all the links are on the website. But if you want to get a hold of us on Twitter, it's salty_language. I'm at Stunami.
I am at Monotony. And, of course, because we promote it, Snapchat, salty_language.
I'm at Ninjitsu.
And then I've been pushing the shit out of Instagram lately. It's just Salty Language on Instagram.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
Yep. And again, if there are snap codes are on the website also, if you just want to use those. But whatever, any social media that we have is on there. The link to our Facebook and all that kind of stuff if you want it.
Yes.
And again, if you answer the hashtag or the Q of the W, please use hashtag Q of the W in your post, or unless you respond to the initial question, then you don't have to, but, that way it's easier for us to find.
Yeah, definitely easier to find.
Definitely easier. Yep. I think that's it, right?
I believe so.
I feel like that's all the gimmicks. All right. One last time, if you want to listen to us talk about the Punisher, we're going to be doing that just on the flip side. No,
hey.
So I guess until next time, say have beer, you'll be fine.
I'm going to say stay salty and stuff.
That makes sense. And, remember, we can't stop here. This is danger country.
Yes. What you mean?
Well played. Well played, sir. Oh, man. All right, so let's talk about The Punisher a little bit here, real quick.
All right.
Yeah, I wasn't actually going to finish it last night. I was just going to watch 2 of the episodes I still had because I had 4 left. I thought I had 3, but I had 4 left. And then next thing you know, I'm like, I'm going to finish it.
You're like, yeah, fuck this.
Yeah.
Plow through it. So what's your overall impression of The Punisher?
I really liked it. I think it was better than I thought it was going to turn out. Like I was kind of afraid that 13 episodes might be too much, and it probably was. Like most of the series on the Netflix Marvel series, I think you could probably trim an episode or 2, you know. But overall, I thought it was pretty good. My biggest issue is kind of going into, I mean, obviously they have to humanize Frank, you know?
Yes.
And I get it. It's like, and I kind of like how they introduced Microchip or Micro, sorry, whatever.
Right.
You know, to it, but having his family be the kind of like the catalyst for Frank to do things, that was kind of like, you know, it's like he really supposed to just be going after people to go after them, you know?
Right.
But again, I understand they have to humanize him. Otherwise, he, like, especially to non-comics fans, he's going to look like a real asshole.
Yeah, a real psychopath.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, well, they got to ground him somewhere. I get it, you know? The other thing is, holy shit, in the last, like, 3 episodes, could he have taken more damage?
Yeah, I know, right? Fueled by rage, I guess.
Yeah, then the next episode, he's just like up and moving around like nothing, and I'm like, like, wow, man. Like,
there's definitely some times you gotta suspend your disbelief.
Yeah. Oh, of course, you know.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, what's his name? Russo. After he gets shot in the arm, and he's like, he's like, moving around his apartment, but then when he's going around shooting guys, he's using his right arm just willy-nilly. Then he throws that bag up over his shoulder. I'm like, shouldn't his arm be hurting like crazy because he got shot? You know, I mean, he poured a little whiskey on it. Don't get me wrong.
Well, whiskey will do you.
Yeah, but we don't see him taking any sort of painkillers or anything. It's just, you know, shot of whiskey basically.
Right.
Yeah, like you said, you just suspend all that stuff. But you know, it still made me laugh. 2 things. I'm just jumping all over the place here.
That's fine.
2 things that were really interesting to me is for those, again, this is going to be spoilers laden. For those who don't know, they set up, Billy Russo in the comics is, Jigsaw.
Yeah.
And obviously they set that up.
They obviously set that up.
Set that up at the end. Cause the whole time I'm like, when's he going to fuck his face up? You know, because he's getting all cut up. And then when they were fighting on the carousel with knives, I was like, oh, here we go. I wasn't anticipating the way he did it.
The clever use of a mirror.
The repeated use of a mirror. Yeah. Oh man. I'll tell you, I saw somebody had that done to their face on, like the grates that are on the front of a school locker in a fight once. And holy shit, did it tear his face up. So yeah, I'm sure that would have done a nice amount of work.
Yes.
Because, you know, like it's funny because you're watching the series and the whole time in my head I'm going, okay, the only 2 people who are 100% safe are Frank Castle and Billy Russo. Because I know they're going to bring Billy Russo back as Jigsaw, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's no way you wouldn't have that opportunity for another year of a villain, much like in Luke Cage. You know, with that guy, he gets, you know, armaments and becomes a different, you know, villain basically. So, it was interesting. It was as odd as it is to say, I think it was a little more violent than I expected.
Really?
A little bit, not much. Cause again, you know, the comics are violent. There were moments where I was just like, geez, like, you know, sticking his thumbs in the guy's eyes.
Well,
and, you know,
that was a little much, maybe.
Yeah, there were a few parts that were really over the top, but, you know.
Well, it was like, how I viewed it was like, you know, it's the Punisher. You almost expect every episode to him be killing, you know, a whole gang of guys.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of episodes.
Not so much.
There was barely anything like that going on. And then all of a sudden you're watching one and he just took on a whole team.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to my grounding thing, because I think if every episode he kills like 30 guys, by the end of it, you're going to be a little fatigued and also be like, I don't know, man. They really need to capture this guy.
Yeah, like, man, he's a monster.
Yeah, he's a real menace to society.
But yeah, I mean, I overall I enjoyed it. I kind of am a little bummed that the Skull Bulletproof Vest only made an appearance.
Dude, seriously, it took forever. It was episode 11 is when it first showed up, and then it was in there twice because it was in 13 also.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, but that's what they've done in all the series pretty much.
I know.
You know,
but it's
I hate it. Yeah.
It's a signature look.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Technically 3 times, because in the very first episode, he's burning it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, or burning his old one, whatever. But even still, I was like, he doesn't put it on again until episode 11. You know?
Right.
I was like, man, because, that's the gimmick. That's what we want.
Yeah,
although
exactly.
I did kind of like the fact that when he put that on, it was when shit was real.
Right.
It wasn't like when he's just randomly going after guys. It was, the first one was when he knew that whole team and he thought Russo was going to be with him, and he was like, all right, I'm going to, I want them to see me basically.
Yeah.
And then in the end, when he was again going after Russo, he's wearing it. So I did kind of like that he was, elevating his...
Like, oh, shit's getting real. I better put my skull on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's game time.
Right. When realistically, it's more so because, it's a bulletproof vest. So he's, wearing it so he doesn't get shot 40 times more.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because he already gets shot like 40 times.
Yeah, he definitely gets jacked up throughout the series.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, I really liked it though. Like I was afraid that it was gonna, at points that it would really drag, and I didn't think it did. The various threads that they kind of wove through it, I thought did a good job of moving the show along. Because instead of just having him go after, what's his name? Russell or whatever, the Agent Orange.
Yeah.
Instead of just having him go after him, it was kind of a tiered process that he was going after the other guys, and along with Madani, whatever her name was, having her own side deal with it and stuff. So I like that quite a bit. So yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I've always liked the Punisher anyway, so I'm a little biased probably.
Oh yeah, I probably am too. Yeah. Because it's always awesome. Like when he did put the vest back on, I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Like,
oh man.
Yeah.
People gonna die soon.
Yep. I popped. Again, it was like I was talking earlier about the Matt Hardy with the Woken gimmick. As soon as you see him in the outfit and he starts talking like that, and you're like, "Oh shit!" It's the same gimmick.
Right.
So. Yeah.
And I think they took a lot of inspiration from John Wick too in these shooting scenes.
I think so too. Yeah.
Because it wasn't like, like in the comic books it'd be Frank Castle with an M60 just mowing people down. Yeah. And this it felt a little more like realistic.
Yeah, he kills a lot of guys with just like handguns,
Yeah.
Not just like he doesn't pull that M60 until like the end basically. Or toward the end, like when he's fighting that team or whatever. Because most of the time he's walking around with probably like an AR-15 or something a little more lightweight, that sprays, or a knife.
Yes, a lot of knife work.
Yeah, a lot of knife work, which I'm fine with. Yeah. Again, that's in the book. He does use his knife quite a bit in the book too. So yeah, whatever. Yeah, I was with you though. I like that because you're right. In the book, he would have just had the biggest gun possible when they came in.
Minigun or something.
Oh, he would have just wrecked them that way instead. I loved how he put the shit up in the light bulbs.
Yeah.
So to create an explosive device, and, like all the little stuff in the base when they attack, hiding guns, so that as he just went through there, he could just reach up and grab another one. Because, he's not going to be able to carry 40 guns on him. That's just not realistic,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What is he, a character from Fallout? No.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. I dug it. I really did. And John Barenthal's fantastic. He's great. A great Punisher.
He makes a great Punisher.
He really does, like, you see him, like he emotes well when, Frank has his flashbacks and stuff. It was, that's why I said I mean,
it's clearly John Barenthal and then, Ivan Drago.
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, that's his name. And then
Thomas
Jane.
Right. And then
Sabretooth.
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which I've never seen that movie.
I haven't watched that one either.
I've never seen Sabretooth as the Punisher.
Which is really funny. You know, something that was interesting was aside from Karen Page, there really wasn't much of a crossover. Like the Night Nurse wasn't in this at all. And you talk about a show that could really have used her.
Yeah, I was like, when they had the arrow going to him and he's like, oh God, he's like getting septic. I'm like, here she comes.
Yep. That's what
I figured. It's going to be some random event and I'm like, oh no.
Nope.
I guess not.
Nope. Guess not. Yeah.
Rosario must have been busy or something.
I knew ahead of time she wasn't in the series because, you know, she had already, like, they had announced it at some point. But you're right, though. It felt like you're like, well, here's her cameo because it's the perfect time because otherwise Frank gonna die.
Yeah.
Not so fast.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah. But, all right. So, on our 1 to 5 Channing scale, what do you give it?
I'm going to do probably 4.5 Channings.
That's where I'm at, too, because I enjoyed it. There was no episode where I'm like, yawn, or there wasn't, like, I didn't feel like there was I honestly, for a while, thought that Madani might become like a love interest, and I'm like, oh, God, please no, you know?
Yeah.
But then it kept the distance, and I was like, okay, this is perfect. Like,
well, I kept going with Frank's gonna bang Micro's wife.
Or that, yeah. Well, it was funny because, like, I loved the fact that she kissed him, and he was just like, whoa, and it's like that's perfect for the character because he's done. Like in his head, it was, you know, his wife, and that was it. He's finished with that kind of thing. Although it was like, you know, I mean, she's right there. You know, I kind of thought he might, a little something, but. What would be weird is if he had, and then he's looking up at the camera the whole time, you know?
Like, doing the, pointing, exactly. I see you, I know you see me.
Yep. Just railing her. I am curious though, like, obviously if there's another season of this, Micro should be involved, because he's a huge part of the comics. For a lot of it, you know, cause he helps him with gear and it makes sense in the world we live in that he would be able to hack into stuff and give him information, kind of like, Felicity on, Arrow, you know?
Right.
Where she can always get into everything and point you in certain directions and whatever. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, and I think it makes more sense for him to be like a hacker.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, as opposed to like Q or whatever from James Bond.
Yeah. Where he's just like, oh, here's a van full of weapons for you.
Yeah, like, I've created this knife that also, you know, shoots melted butter. Or, I don't know, whatever.
I created this knife that's also an M60.
yeah, exactly.
How's that work?
So I like the idea of him being more of a, you know, informational asset.
I do too, because I really...
And like, because he did get them guns, because he went, I found a shipment of illegal shit coming in.
Yep, but he didn't get them. Frank still had to go get those guns.
Go get them.
Yep.
Yeah,
which again, I like that. That basically, you know, he's to use a kind of a line from the show. Actually, it's like, you know, he points and Frank goes. You know, like I think Micro actually says something like that. It's like I give you the info and you're the weapon, basically, or you're the muscle or whatever. So it's, you know, that's the truth. And I liked how they grew that relationship between him and Micro as it went on too, to where by the end they're like literally friends, you know?
Yeah, they're buddies. Yeah.
So, one last thing is, I don't know that I felt worse for anybody in the whole show than Curtis.
Right.
That poor dude already had a leg blown off, or half blown off. And, you know, Frank brings all that shitstorm to him, and then, you know, he gets shot multiple times. He gets his face beat in with his own shoe or own leg. I mean, man.
Own leg.
I'm not going to lie. When that scene came on and I saw how the dude kept trying to go for his leg, I was like, oh my God, is he going to beat him with his own leg? Because that's something I would do if I had the opportunity to do that in a game.
Yes.
So when he did, I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is brutal, but I love it because it's exactly what I want right now.
Right.
I actually half expected him to save Frank toward the end. You know, I expect, mainly because he got beat up, and remember how he's like, man, that kid got the jump on me and whatever. I kind of thought that there'd be a redeeming moment where maybe he would get Russo or something like that, or set Russo up some way. No. Nope.
Just got his ass kicked.
Yep.
Yeah, go set up folding chairs and get over there, Gimpy.
I know, right? It's like, jeez. Oh, man. So, yeah. Real quick, what did you think of the inclusion of the crazy dude?
I thought it was interesting because, I obviously they're trying to be like bring awareness to our situation of our vets.
Right.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of liked it, but at the same time, I was kind of like...
It was a little heavy-handed, wasn't it?
It was a little... Exactly. It was a little heavy-handed, like when he's digging a bunker in his backyard.
Yeah. But again, like you said, it's like it really does shine a light on PTSD and stuff,
Yes.
But that's what I was telling Heno, is I was like, man, this show really beats you over the head about PTSD. Which, again... Listen, there's a real problem with that and, troops that have come home and stuff. So I'm not making any light of that, of course. It's... but it did feel really heavy-handed.
Yes.
But it also, I think it filled a good gap in the show, because I'm wondering if you take that out, that might be that lull that I was talking about. Like the story might not really have moved too far forward,
It was a nice B storyline.
Yeah. Again, it humanizes Frank, because Frank's trying to stop that kid. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I liked it. I'm looking very much forward to season 2.
Yeah. I don't know if there is a season 2 yet. I don't know if it's been picked up yet.
I was like, the amount of internet hubbub over this, I can't imagine there won't be.
Well, with Disney though, with that.
That's true.
Yeah. So who knows? And honestly, if there's going to be the kind of show they're not going to do going forward, the Punisher is going to be that kind of show. That's the one thing I kind of am afraid of if Disney and Fox merges, that kind of thing, is that that's it for the Punisher, or Deadpool has to become PG, or, like those kind of things.
I don't know. Yeah. I guess we'll just sit back and
exactly.
wait.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. It's just, whatever. So,
right.
All right.
Beauty. All right.
Anything else?
Well, there you go. No, man, that's it.
All right. There you go. Well, we both enjoyed the Punisher, so watch it. Let us know what you think. If you think we're crazy, that's fine. If you think we're spot on, well, then you're very brilliant. So
exactly. Nailed it.
Yeah. And we'll talk to you next time.